Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Weather Sim forecast. It is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, and we have a lot of weather to talk about. As not only do we still have the potential of seeing flash flooding across the mid Atlantic, like I said, this is going to all be caused by a big time storm system that also looks to bring the potential for more severe storms setting up right across the East Coast. So we are going to keep an eye on that threat very closely, as I do expect the flooding threat and even the severe weather to continue over the next few days, as that storm system is pretty much just stalling out right along the East Coast, which we will talk about that in just a moment. And then we also got more severe storms on the way for even areas of the plains back down there into areas of the Ohio Valley and even parts there of the South. So we are going to keep an eye on all that very closely, especially as we head into the next couple of days. And we also will be going over the tropics at the end, so make sure to stay tuned for that too as well. And let's first start off by going over what's happening across the United States for today. And you guys can see that for today, we do have severe weather continuing not only across the northern plains, but also we got another slight risk for severe storms that has just been issued not too long ago across areas of the mid-Atlantic. This includes areas of the Delmarva region back down there into Virginia, even over there into central North Carolina. So we're talking areas like Raleigh, even back over there towards Charlotte, and then even extreme far northern South Carolina could also be under the gun of seeing some severe storms for today. And then, of course, we do have, a pretty large marginal risk that also extends into areas of Montana, even down there into Idaho, northern Utah, and even eastern portions there of Oregon, and then even over here towards areas like Michigan, northwest Ohio, and northeast Indiana. We do have another marginal risk for severe storms. And if you guys are wondering what a marginal risk is, the reason why I'm pointing them out is because isolated severe storms are possible, but they're usually not anything too crazy, at least not nearly as bad as what we're going to be seeing in these two yellow colors. So, all I can say is that if you do live in Michigan, or if you live over here across the Rocky Mountains, just be ready just in case a storm or two pops up. But once again, it's not going to be anything too crazy compared to what we'll be seeing in these yellow colors. So make sure you guys are at least paying attention. But like I said, it shouldn't be nearly as significant in the screen color as it is in this yellow color. But if you do live in that yellow color, however, then you guys need to make sure you guys are prepared for not just hail, but also we do have the potential of seeing a brief spin out tornado across the northern plains, and same goes with damaging winds, especially being the biggest concern across both areas, as not only do we have that hatch risk for damaging winds setting up across the plains, but we even got hatch risk for large hail, which is where the black lanes are going through. So not only could we see 2-inch hail, but also we could see a wind gust or two up to hurricane force across the Dakotas back down there into Nebraska. But if you live over here in the mid-Atlantic, damaging winds, some small hail are possible, but we shouldn't really see any major concerns with tornadoes. But if we take a look at tomorrow, however, tomorrow it actually continues to bring the same impacts across the same areas, unfortunately, as we do have another day that we could potentially see some severe storms setting up across the East Coast. And we also got another area setting up across the plains back over there into the upper Midwest, where we do got two slight risks of severe weather. We got one across Nebraska, northeast Colorado, northern Kansas, and southern South Dakota. And then we got another one setting up across North Dakota and even parts there of northwest Minnesota. Will all be under the gun for severe storms once we head into tomorrow. And once again, we're just going to have that storm system continuing to stall out along the coast, which will likely bring severe storms even once we enter tomorrow. And for tomorrow, it's not really looking like anything too crazy, especially since we're only talking about damaging winds being the main concerns. I would not completely roll out a brief tornado, but overall the tornado threat is going to be pretty low. And same with hail. Hail appears to be pretty low as well, especially since it includes a relatively large area. So I don't think tomorrow is going to be be nearly as bad as today, but you guys should still continue to stay weather aware as we enter tomorrow as well, especially for damaging winds. And then I do think that is still going to be the case, at least somewhat, once we enter our Friday this week. So, like I said, it's just going to be, lots of severe weather coming our way, one of which will be a stalled system over here. And then, like I said, we are going to be talking about more severe storms setting up across the plains and perhaps even areas of the upper Midwest. So make sure you guys are being weather aware these next few days, especially if you live in the plains or even the mid-Atlantic. Let's talk about how these storms could play out by first taking a look at the energy. You guys can see that for how much energy we're going to have, there's actually the potential that we could see some pretty good showers and thunderstorms for today. And this is mainly given the fact that if you look across the Dakotas back down there into Nebraska, we're talking anywhere from 4,000 to even as much as 5,000 joules per kilogram setting up right across areas of the northern plains, okay? And with energy this high, this really brings a concern for some stronger storms, as we also got plenty of moisture to work with. This is even more moisture than what we have down there in Texas, so that will also be another concern to watch for. And of course, we even got a little bit of wind shear to work with as well. Wind shear is pretty weak across a pretty large area of the United States, but it is decent across the northern plains, so that is one of the reasons why the tornado threat may be a little bit heightened. But overall, we're not really looking at anything too concerning with tornadoes. It's really just going to be damaging winds and large hail being the main concerns over the next couple of days, including areas of the mid-Atlantic. So, like I said, we will watch it closely, but does not appear to be anything too concerning with tornadoes, but we will watch it closely as damaging winds and large hail will be possible, not only across the mid-Atlantic, but also areas of the plains. If we also take a look at our flooding risk, flooding is going to be another big concern, as we do have a moderate risk. This is a level 3 out of 4 on the flash flood threat scale, and look at this. This includes almost the same areas as what Chantal impacted. And this is one of the reasons why we could potentially experience some more significant flash flooding once again across areas of extreme northern North Carolina and especially central Virginia, where we do have that red color showing up indicating a pretty good risk for some significant flash flooding. Even if you live in this yellow color, you might not have the highest threat, but you still got a chance of seeing some flash flooding, and I do expect some of this yellow to potentially experience some significant flash flooding as well, especially in isolated locations. And then in the screen color is actually pretty large, as it actually goes all the way down there towards Texas. And once again, whenever you're talking about a marginal risk for severe weather or even a marginal risk for flash flooding, it just means that, isolated severe storms or isolated flash flooding, it's possible, but it's usually not anything too significant compared to what we're going to be seeing in this yellow color and even in this red color for today. So make sure to remember that, and if you do live in this red color, make sure you guys are preparing for flash flooding, as we could potentially experience as much as 6 inches of rain across some areas, which would be another big life-threatening event. And then once we head into tomorrow, thankfully tomorrow we don't have that red color, but still we got that chance of seeing some flash flooding tomorrow as well, not just across the central plains, but also areas of the mid-Atlantic. We do have another area to watch for even as we head into our Friday, as this does even include areas of the Eastern Rockies and even parts there of the Western Plains. And we even got another area setting up across the upper Midwest, and same goes across areas of the South and Southeast. So nothing too crazy, but still we're going to keep an eye on it closely, as isolated flash flooding will be possible even as we head into the start of the weekend. let's talk about how much rainfall we could see over the next several days, because from now all the way to Wednesday of next week, we do have the potential of seeing anywhere from 1 to even as much as 5 inches of rainfall across areas of Canada, all the way back down there into areas of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, even over there into Kansas, Oklahoma. So we gotta really keep an eye on that area closely. I would especially be concerned about areas of the East Coast, including the I-95 corridor, where we actually got some areas that could potentially see as much as, it just depends on how these storms play out, of course, but I would not be surprised at all if some areas along the I-95 corridor got as much as 5 inches of rainfall, especially across Virginia and North Carolina. And even though it may not show the highest amount of rainfall, this is where we're going to be tracking the most storms coming on in, and this is one of the reasons why areas of Virginia and North Carolina will have the biggest concern for flash flooding, including potentially a significant flash flood event. Let's also take a look at the tropics now, because we kind of already took a look at most of what we wanted to, but let's also take a look at the tropics, just so that way you guys have a good idea of what's to come, especially as we get into the future. Because as of right now, we're looking at temperatures in the 90s and even the 80s over here across the Gulf, even the Caribbean. We do have some areas like the MDR region and even up there towards areas of the central Atlantic that are still seeing those 90s. I don't think it's nearly as warm as what we're seeing over here in the Gulf, but we're still really looking at those warmer than normal water temperatures setting up really across this entire area right here. This is where we're really seeing those warmer water temperatures setting up, and so really tropical development is possible anywhere in that area. But let's say once you get north of Massachusetts, we'll draw a line from Massachusetts all the way over there towards United Kingdom. You guys can see that once you head north of that line, those water temperatures start to get more into the 50s and 40s, which is super cold. That's going to feel kind of like winter up there. So, definitely pretty cold to say the least. But it's definitely, goes to show you that with these waves coming off Africa, I don't know if you guys remembered this in the last video or not, but with the waves coming off of Africa and heading northward into that warmer water, instead of heading more like this, like what we would usually see, this is one of the reasons why tropical development is pretty limited at this time, and that is also due to Saharan dust. And just for a quick update, I just also wanted to point out that we do also have a small slight risk for tropical development over the next 2 weeks. So we're talking about the end of July, where we could potentially see some development across the Gulf. This is also the first time this year where the Climate Prediction Center has issued this red color in the Gulf, which I said this is an indication that tropical formation is possible. So make sure you guys are, at least staying weather aware if you live across the Gulf Coast back down there into Florida. We're not saying that it is going to happen, but there is the potential that we could maybe see a tropical storm or two get ongoing down here in the Gulf and moving up there onto land. So we are going to keep an eye on that very closely, especially as we head into the next couple of weeks. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and also follow me on Facebook and Twitter if you haven't already. Make sure to go down below and click the link down below in the description if you would like to do that. And once again, we do appreciate you guys who've been following our channel, and we also appreciate you guys who've been following us and even staying with us on Facebook as well. So we really do appreciate your guys' support right there, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday out there, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.